I made a speech to the African American Chamber of Commerce in South Carolina. Yes. Wonderful people. And the room was full. Every seat was full.
Every seat full? Not so much. This picture was taken while Mr. Trump was speaking. Here's some video around the same time. Notice he's on stage. And notice the many empty seats in the back of the room.
We have a president that said 3,000. Now he wants to bring in 250,000 people.
In fact, the Obama administration only committed to letting in 10,000 refugees from Syria.
I watched when the World Trade Center came tumbling down. And I watched in Jersey City, New Jersey, where thousands and thousands of people were cheering.
And there were only a few people spotted cheering after the Twin Towers fell.
He just seems to have a disregard for the facts. About 3/4 of the statements we have rated have either earned mostly false, or pants on fire.
Don't worry about that baby. I love babies. So I love babies. I hear that baby crying. I like it. What a baby. Ripped us absolutely to shreds. Actually, I was only kidding. You can get the baby out of here. I think she really believed me that I love having a baby crying while I'm speaking. Do I look like a president? How handsome am I, right? How handsome? I will be the greatest jobs president that God ever created. I tell you that. I went to an Ivy League school. I'm very highly educated. I know words. I have the best words. I have the...
Look down at the lower right-hand corner and you will see the name Tony Schwartz. Tony Schwartz, longtime journalist, was the ghostwriter for Art of the Deal.
Because one of the things you say is he has no attention span. It's impossible to keep him focused on any topic other than his own self-aggrandizement for more than a few minutes. Quote, you say to Jane Mayer, if he had to be briefed on a crisis in the Situation Room, it's impossible to imagine him paying attention over a long period of time. Didn't you have to get him to pay attention to you for a long period of time in order for you to co-write this book with him?
I almost gave up on the book, Rachel, halfway through because it was so impossible to interview him. And I actually called my agent and said from Mar-a-Lago, from my room in Mar-a-Lago, over a weekend, I give up. I'm quitting. And I got back on the plane, heading home, and I had this inspiration, which was to ask him to let me sit in and listen on his phone calls so that I could try to piece together the deals that he was making from other people. And that was the way I got the book done.
Nobody knows the system better than me, which is why I alone can fix it.
I know more about ISIS than the generals do, believe me.
The headline is ex-wife. Donald Trump made me feel violated during sex. The next line is Ivana Trump once accused the real estate tycoon of, quote, rape, although she later clarified not in the criminal sense. And the essence of this piece is, I'm just reading this literally as we are on the air, is that during their divorce proceeding, which was ugly, she accused him of a, quote, violent assault, pulling back her arms, pulling out fistfuls of her hair, and then, quote, raping her in a vicious manner. Donald Trump has previously, this is back in 1989, this allegedly happened. He has denied it previously, years and years ago, saying it is obviously false, and going after the guy who wrote it as a vindictive and jealous man. Somebody who speaks for Donald Trump has come out and denied it as well, and added that legally, he says, you cannot rape your spouse, although I'm not sure about that as a legal matter. We'll leave that for another day.
We should have world record-setting fights, but we really don't. We get along very well, and there's not a lot of disagreement because ultimately Ivana does exactly as I tell her to do.
See, wait a minute. When you see that, what do you think?
Well, I tell you, I have changed quite a bit. I will not let men dominate me anymore.
There seems to be a pattern, Mr. Trump. When you're criticized or attacked, you often respond with name-calling, using terms like dummy, loser, total losers on Twitter and elsewhere. You even demean some people's physical appearance.
So I have, she gets out and she starts asking me all sorts of ridiculous questions. And, you could see there was blood coming out of her eyes. Blood coming out of her wherever. But
Excuse me.
It's stronger
yes, I have a
background
gun.
checks.
Excuse me.
The number of excuse me's escalates.
Excuse me.
What was that based
Excuse me.
As tempers rise.
You're a
not-
billionaire,
excuse me,
though.
excuse
Why
me.
would you not move it here just for having it in America?
Excuse me, because I'm a businessman.
You are constantly denouncing some journalists who write about you and talk about you. Let me run through it. ABC's Martha Raddatz, unprofessional and biased, you say. NBC's Chuck Todd, a real loser. National Review's Jonah Goldberg, dumb as a rock. Columnist George Will, a total dope. Fox's Charles Krauthammer, a totally overrated clown.
Some kind words yesterday for Ted Cruz, but do you owe his father an apology for saying he was with Lee Harvey Oswald before JFK's assassination? You don't really have the evidence to back up that charge, so no apology.
I'm just referring to an article that appeared.
On the Mexican comments, why not say, maybe I went too far, poor choice of words, or even, I'm sorry?
I don't have to say that. Look.
And that was Donald Trump. He's unapologetic about his controversial proposal to ban Muslims from entering the U.S. But given
to subject my wife into the middle of a raucous political conversation was completely inappropriate, and I hope you apologize for that, Donald.
Well, I have to tell you, I hear phenomenal things. I hear your wife is a lovely woman.
She is.
I
She's
don't
fantastic.
know her, and this
she
is a total
absolutely the love of my life, and
of what
she's
I
right
said.
here. And why don't
Good.
you apologize
Good.
for her?
No, I won't
right
do that
now.
because I said nothing wrong, but I do hear
So
she's a
here's-
lovely woman.
Excuse me. To John McCain, a war hero, 5.5 years as a POW, and you call him a dummy. Is that appropriate in running for president?
Okay, but, he lost. So I never liked him as much after that because I don't like losers. But Frank, let me get to it. He hit me. He's not a war hero.
He's a war hero.
He's a war hero.
5.5 years.
He's
as
a war
POW
hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you.
Have you ever said anything you regret?
Yes, I have on many occasions.
Can you tell us a few of those? Not the birther issue, not the immigrant issue.
No, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that, Martha. I wouldn't do that. It's not the appropriate time.
How would you answer that, Father? What sacrifice have you made for your country?
I think I made a lot of sacrifices. I worked very, very hard. I've created thousands and thousands of jobs.
Trump also questioned the silence from Mrs. Khan during the speech, suggesting she was oppressed by her religion. This morning on CNN, she answered the critique, saying she was overcome seeing her deceased son's photo on stage.
Mr. Khan was on all the shows this weekend explaining in a very articulate way about how much he loved this country and how much his son loved this country, and his son was a hero, and that Donald Trump had a black soul and was incapable of showing empathy. And by Donald Trump's own reaction, it's hard to argue that that wasn't true.
Why do you think Donald Trump finds it so difficult, seemingly, to speak to loss?
He speaks
to
very
what it's
well.
like to lose something, to lose a son or a daughter in combat, to lose your home, to loss. I mean, we just showed a clip of Donald Trump in Florida. He started talking about Gold Star families and quickly equated the Gold Star family meeting to money. He had a check from a Gold Star family.
I don't accept that it's difficult for him to speak to loss. He has done it. You talk about
I'm asking, has he ever been able to speak of loss and connect with someone else's loss? And you said he has. Tell us where. Tell us when.
Well, he's talked about enormous loss that we've had in this country by allowing radical Islamic extremists to run rampant